ever stopped and thought, like, how much of life is just on autopilot? Not just like the boring routines, but the deeper stuff, you know?
Yeah.
The beliefs and habits that kind of shape everything, all your decisions. And ultimately, I guess, your whole reality.
Yeah, it really makes you think.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it's something that John Assaraf, you know, the brain expert, serial entrepreneur type.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
He spent his whole career digging into this, and that's exactly what today's deep dive is all about. It's like getting a user manual for unlocking your brain's full potential.
That's a great way to put it.
Right. We're talking some pretty powerful stuff. The science behind neural pathways and like actual techniques for rewiring those patterns that might be holding us back.
The stuff that's been ingrained for who knows how long.
Yeah, exactly. And to start, let's just tackle this whole subconscious mind thing.
Yeah.
You know, Assaraf throws out this stat that like 95 to 98% of what we do is controlled by the subconscious.
Yeah.
Is that even possible?
Well, the research in neuroscience actually supports it. Think about it.
Yeah.
You don't consciously think, breathe, or digest that food. It just happens automatically.
Right.
And that's just scratching the surface. The subconscious is always processing information, making decisions, guiding our behavior, all based on patterns and beliefs we've built up over time.
So we're talking actual biology, not some mystical mumbo-jumbo.
Exactly. It's not magic, it's science. And Assaraf links this to this idea of the psycho-cybernetic mechanism.
Yeah.
Basically, it's like our brain's inner GPS, trying to keep us within our comfort zones. He actually got the term from Dr. Maxwell Maltz, a plastic surgeon. Maltz noticed that even after positive changes, his patients often struggled to adapt to their new appearance.
Interesting.
Yeah, he theorized that our brains have this internal image of ourselves, a self-image, and it tries to keep us aligned with that image even when it's holding us back.
So even if we consciously want to change, our brains are fighting to keep things the same.
It's a bit of a paradox, but yeah. Think of it like your home's thermostat. You might crank the heat, but if the thermostat is set low, the system kicks in to bring the temperature back down.
Ah, I see.
It's the same with our subconscious minds. You set goals, make resolutions, but if they clash with your deep-seated beliefs, that subconscious will try to sabotage your efforts.
Which brings us to beliefs, right? Like those are the building blocks of this whole subconscious program we're running.
Exactly. And Assaraf is very clear. Beliefs aren't necessarily facts. They're just groups of neurons in our brains, connections made stronger over time by repetition, and those emotions that get tied to them. It's the story we tell ourselves about who we are, about the world, about what's possible.
Okay, so even if they feel super solid, they're not actually set in stone.
Not at all. And Assaraf's own life is proof. He talks about his teenage years, full of trouble, weighed down by beliefs that he wasn't smart enough, destined to fail. But then he met this mentor who actually believed in him, helped him see a different potential. That one shift changed his whole story, completely rerouted his life.
It's crazy how powerful a change in perspective can be.
Absolutely. And that leads us to another key player, habits. They're basically beliefs in action, those automated programs running in the background, shaping our choices without us even realizing it.
And we all know how tough those habits are to break. What about that 28-day myth? Is there any truth to that?
Unfortunately, no. Assaraf cites research that says it takes way longer to form a new habit, somewhere between 66 to 365 days, depending on how complex it is.
So consistency is what matters. Small steps over time, not those bursts of effort that fizzle out.
Right, and this all ties into Assaraf's set points, which are like those internal thermostats regulating different parts of our lives, our income, weight, even the quality of our relationships.
He has a great story about noticing income set points with his real estate agents. Some would hit a certain level, then unconsciously sabotage their own success.
It shows how our brains are hardwired to resist change. Even if it's not good for us, we crave that sense of balance. It's that psycho-cybernetic mechanism again, trying to keep us comfy, even if those comfort zones are limiting us.
Wow. Okay, so if the subconscious is really running the show, based on these beliefs, habits, and set points, how do we actually gain control? Rewrite that program, so to speak.
That's where it gets really exciting. Assaraf has all these practical tools and techniques for what he calls brain training.
That sounds promising.
It is, and that's where we'll pick up next time.
Okay, so we've laid it all out. Our subconscious minds, they're powerful, but not always working for us. Those ingrained beliefs, habits, those set points, they can really hold us back. But the good news is we're not stuck with them. John Assaraf gives us these awesome tools, techniques for what he calls brain training. Where do we even start?
It all starts with awareness, really. We gotta become aware, Conscious of those subconscious programs that are kind of running in the background. Like, what beliefs are shaping our decisions, our perceptions? Which habits are on autopilot? And those set points, where are they keeping us stuck?
It's like we need to shine a light on those hidden patterns.
Exactly. But once we see them, how do we actually change them? That's the big question.
Right, good point. So what's the next step?
Assaraf focuses on 3 main techniques: visualization, affirmations, and then there's what he calls emotionalizing.
Emotionalizing.
Yeah, it might sound kind of out there at first.
Well, woo-woo, maybe.
Maybe, but there's solid neuroscience behind it. Let's start with visualization. When we really vividly imagine ourselves achieving a goal, our brains actually fire those same neural pathways as if we were actually doing it.
So we're not just daydreaming, we're actually rewiring our brains.
Exactly. And that's where affirmations come in. By consciously repeating positive statements that are aligned with our goals, we're basically giving our subconscious mind new instructions, like rewriting that old negative script.
So instead of "I'm not good enough," it's "I am capable and worthy."
Exactly.
It's not just about the words, right?
Right.
Assaraf talks about emotionalizing those affirmations. What does that even mean?
It's the secret sauce, the thing that makes affirmations really work. You have to engage those emotions, feel the excitement, the joy, the gratitude, all tied to achieving your goals. Emotions, they're powerful drivers of neural activity. So when you combine visualization with affirmations and then infuse them with emotion, you've got a powerful recipe for rewiring those subconscious patterns.
So we're convincing our brains that these new beliefs, these new behaviors, they're not just possible, but something we actually want.
That's it. And Assaraf's got some really creative tools for this. He loves vision boards.
Oh yeah, vision boards, I've heard of those.
You create a visual representation of your goals using pictures, quotes, whatever inspires you. It keeps your goals front and center, activates those neural pathways through visuals.
It's a tangible reminder of what you're working towards.
Right. But he also has this idea of an accomplishment board.
Okay, what's that?
It's a way to combat those limiting beliefs that tell us we're not good enough, that we'll never reach our goals. You celebrate your wins, big or small, gather certificates, photos, anything that shows you've achieved something, and display them proudly. It reminds you of what you're capable of, boosts your confidence, and reinforces those positive beliefs.
Like saying, "Hey brain, look what I've already done. I can do amazing things."
Exactly.
But what about when those obstacles pop up, those challenges? Doesn't Assaraf have a tool for that too? The crap board.
He does. It's great. It stands for conflicts, resistance, accomplishments, and procrastination. You get all that mental clutter out of your head and onto the board. Write down those fears, doubts, things you're putting off. You acknowledge them, visualize them, and then, here's the important part, make a plan to overcome them.
You're taking control instead of letting fear freeze you.
Exactly.
And then there's that brush and prime technique.
Oh yeah, that one's simple but genius.
I've actually been trying it myself.
It's so easy, right? Just write your goals or affirmations on sticky notes, stick them on your bathroom mirror. Each morning while you're brushing your teeth, you're priming your brain with those positive messages.
It's sneaky, like repetition and visualization without even trying.
Right. And it shows how important it is to make these brain training techniques part of your daily routine. Just weave them into your life.
Make it a habit.
Exactly. But even with all the best tools and techniques, we all get hit with those moments of fear and stress. The kind that threatens to derail our progress. What about those inner critics that say, we're not good enough, that we're gonna fail?
That's the big question. How do we handle those? We can't just ignore those feelings. They're part of being human.
Of course. And Assaraf has a great approach to managing those emotions. He says fear is a signal, not a stop sign. It's our brain trying to protect us from what it sees as a threat.
But those threats aren't always real, are they?
Not always. Often they're just stories we're telling ourselves based on old experiences or limiting beliefs.
So how do we tell the difference between real danger and those self-made fears that are holding us back?
That's where awareness comes in again. Assaraf says we need to become observers of our thoughts and emotions, to notice them without judgment. Just create space between that stimulus and our reaction.
So it's like taking a step back and saying, okay, I'm feeling fear. What's causing this? Is it a real threat, or is my subconscious just trying to keep me in my comfort zone?
You got it. And once you've got that space, you can choose a different response, a more powerful response. And Assaraf has 2 simple but powerful inner sizes for when fear tries to take over.
Inner sizes, I like that.
Right.
What are they?
The first is take 6. Super simple. When you feel that stress or anxiety rising, just take 6 deep breaths. Focus on each inhale and exhale. It slows your heart rate, calms your nervous system, lets your thinking brain take charge.
It's like hitting pause on the panic so you can make a conscious decision.
Exactly. And then there's AYA, which stands for awareness, intention, action.
We've talked about awareness, but what about intention?
Intention is key. Once you're aware of the fear, you choose how you want to respond. What's your intention in this moment? Freeze and give in, or move forward in spite of it?
You're taking control, not letting fear call the shots.
Right. And then comes the action. It doesn't have to be huge, just a tiny step to break that inertia, to show your brain you're not stuck.
So even something small, like getting out of bed when anxiety hits, or making that phone call you've been avoiding, that can shift the fear response.
Absolutely. And as you take those actions, you build momentum. And that fuels more action. You're proving to yourself that you are capable, you can handle the challenges, you're worthy of success. And as you keep going, those fear and self-doubt pathways, they weaken, while the confidence and empowerment pathways get stronger.
It's literally rewiring our brains for success.
That's a great way to put it. But Assaraf is clear. This isn't about becoming fearless. It's about learning to work with those feelings, to see them as signals, not dictators. It's about understanding that fear is part of growth, a sign that you're pushing beyond those comfort zones and stepping into your true potential.
We're not trying to get rid of fear, we're learning to dance with it.
Exactly. And that brings us back to Assaraf's law of Juoye, get off your ass. Because all this mental work, the visualization, the affirmations, the emotionalizing, it means nothing if you don't take action in the real world.
It's about bridging that gap between thought and action.
Right.
Turning those dreams into concrete steps.
Exactly. That's where the rubber meets the road. Because as you start taking action, experiencing those small wins, your beliefs start to change. You see yourself as capable, as worthy, as successful, and as those beliefs change, so do your behaviors. You make bigger choices, take bigger risks, open yourself up to more possibilities.
It's a positive feedback loop. Action fuels belief, which fuels more action.
You got it. And that's where those set points we talked about come back in. Because as you consistently take action, as you experience success beyond your old limits, those set points start to shift too. Your brain starts to accept this new level of achievement as normal.
So we're not forcing ourselves to be someone we're not. We're expanding what's possible, raising the bar on our potential.
Powerful way to put it. It all boils down to the incredible plasticity of our brains. We can change our minds, and in doing so, we change our lives.
This has been so insightful. I'm curious though, how do we actually pinpoint those set points? And once we find them, how do we start shifting them?
Those are great questions, and that's what we'll explore in the final part of our deep dive.
We've been talking about some pretty deep stuff, right? This whole idea of the subconscious mind, beliefs, habits, and those set points that John Assaraf keeps mentioning. It's almost like our brains have these internal thermostats controlling different areas of our lives.
Yeah, it's a good way to think about it. And as we've seen, those set points can be stubborn little things.
For sure, even when we're trying to change, our subconscious might be working against us, trying to keep everything the same within those limits.
Exactly.
So before we wrap up, I'd love to dig a bit deeper into those set points. How do we even figure out what they are? They seem pretty subtle.
They can be. It's not like there's a big sign flashing, income set point, $50,000. But there are definitely clues. Think about patterns in your life, those recurring themes, like always hitting a certain income and then things fall apart. Or maybe you struggle with your weight, always up and down. Those could be signs of set points at work.
So we need to look for those areas where we keep hitting a wall, like an invisible ceiling, even when we're trying hard.
Exactly. It's like running into a wall you can't see. And it's important to remember, they're not always bad, those set points. You could have a set point for awesome relationships, always attracting great people into your life.
Oh, that's a good point. So let's say we found a set point that's not helping us. How do we actually change it? Is that even possible?
It is, but you need to kind of reset things mentally. Remember those set points. They're based on those deeper subconscious programs, those beliefs and habits. So to change the set point, you got to address the root cause.
So it's not enough to just say, I want to earn more. I have to look at the beliefs and habits that are keeping my income set point low.
Exactly. Let's say your income set point is stuck at, $60,000 a year. What beliefs could be holding you back? Maybe deep down you think money is the root of all evil, or rich people are all jerks, or maybe you have a habit of self-sabotage, like you unconsciously mess things up.
So step one is awareness.
Yeah.
Recognizing those limiting beliefs and habits. But then what? How do we actually reprogram them?
That's where those brain training techniques we talked about come in. The visualization, the affirmations, the emotionalizing. You need to create new pathways in your brain. pathways that support a higher set point, something that feels possible and that you actually want.
So if I'm trying to raise my income, I could visualize myself earning more, really feeling what it would be like to achieve that.
Right. And you could back those visualizations up with affirmations like, I deserve abundance, or money comes to me easily and effortlessly. The key is to make those visualizations and affirmations really vivid, really emotionally charged.
It's like giving our subconscious mind a whole new set of instructions, a new plan for success.
Exactly. But remember, it's not just about the mental stuff. Assaraf is all about action. Remember the law of GOAA, get off your ass.
Yes. We can't just sit around thinking positive thoughts. We have to actually do something.
Right. Action creates momentum. And as you start seeing results, those beliefs begin to shift. You start to see that this higher set point is not only possible, but within reach. And as your beliefs change, so do your behaviors. You're more willing to take risks, chase new opportunities, and attract greater levels of success.
It's like those small wins start to build on each other, creating a domino effect.
Exactly. And it's the same for any set point, whether it's weight, relationships, whatever. Find those limiting beliefs and habits, swap them out for empowering ones, and then take consistent action.
It's a powerful message, right? We're not just puppets to our subconscious. We have the power to change our mind. And in doing so, we change our whole lives.
Exactly. It all goes back to how amazing our brains are, how adaptable they are. They're constantly changing, rewiring themselves based on our experiences, thoughts, and actions.
This deep dive has been incredible. Seriously, so much to think about, so much to put into action.
It's been great chatting with you about this. And remember, this is just the start. The more we understand how our subconscious minds work, how we can shape them, the more we can unlock our potential and create a life we truly love.
So to our listener, what are you waiting for? Pay attention to those little patterns, those repeating themes in your life. What might be a sign that a set point is holding you back? And what can you do starting today to shift those set points and build the life you really want?
That's the challenge. Keep exploring, experimenting, and never stop believing in yourself and what you can achieve.
Until next time, keep diving deep.
If you like the podcast, make sure you subscribe for the next session.